Alright, so this past weekend we got a brand new Bad Boys film in Bad Boys Ride or Die. That makes 4 in this franchise, and today I'm going to rank them. Let's get started. Alright, so heading into Bad Boys Ride or Die, I wasn't really excited to watch the franchise. I didn't know if it would be made for me or what it was. And so when I finally watched the movies, I gotta say this franchise was a pleasant surprise that I was not intending to love as much as I did. These are movies with big action set pieces, great characters, great character dynamics, and so I had a lot of fun watching all 4 of these movies. And so before we go into here, you have to understand that I don't think there's a single bad film out of the 4 films that we got here. And one more thing, I'm making my voice be a little quieter. It's 11:30 at night. I need to wake up in about 5 hours, so yeah, I'm here filming this video, but everybody in my house is asleep, so I'm being just a little more quiet than I normally would. And with that said, comment down below what is your ranking of the Bad Boys films, and while you're down there, please make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, and hit the bell so you never miss another video. And with that said, coming in 4th place, Bad Boys Ride or Die. Now, like I said in the intro, I don't think there's a single bad film in the Bad Boys franchise. There's fun to be had here. The 2 leads, very charismatic, of course. After all these years, they still have fantastic chemistry, doing all these wacky stuff that is really fun. They have more of a supporting cast here that came back from the last movie. It starts to feel more like a family, and that's one of the best things about this movie, something that stands out inside of this movie. There are character moments that really pop inside of this movie, and it's just a fun movie. Everything that you get with the Bad Boys movies, it's here, and it can be really fun when we're focusing on Martin Lawrence and Will Smith on the run. Once we get to the full swing of things in the plot, it is a really fun movie, and exactly what I want from the Bad Boys movies that we get. But this is where it starts to feel a little superficially fun. Of course, we have the 2 charismatic leads, the action, we have the comedy, anything that makes for a fun summer blockbuster. But it just didn't feel as unique or special as Bad Boys 2, Bad Boys for Life, or even Bad Boys 1 had. So that very clearly for me is able to pop out as the weakest one in the franchise, and mainly that's because we don't have a memorable plot here. Coming off of Bad Boys for Life, which is one of the best in this franchise, you'll see where it ends up on the ranking with all these fun sequences that stand out and stay in your head. This movie didn't really have anything like that. Of course, we have sequences like where they're fighting the alligator at the end that is genuinely fun. They have sequences of action that you're enjoying watching in the theater, but nothing too memorable. I swear to you, about 2-3 hours once this movie was over, or at least my double feature was over, I thought about this movie and I was like, yeah, I remember scenes, but I can't necessarily remember the entire plot. And when you're watching a movie, specifically a Bad Boys movie that you're looking to have fun with, it doesn't really work when you can't remember the plot or any specific scenes except maybe like a handful, because it's just superficially entertaining. It's a good movie, it was fun to watch, but it's just kind of forgettable. And coming off of like For Life and 2, where those are not forgettable films, those are beyond fun, I felt like this one was kind of a letdown just a little bit because I was expecting to have an absolute blast, but I just didn't feel like it had anything that really made the film pop as a whole. And so by far it has to be the weakest in this franchise. In 3rd place, I'm going with the original Bad Boys, Michael Bay's directorial debut, and I think it's pretty fun. It's a pretty fun movie. Of course, this was before Will Smith even came to stardom. We're with Will Smith and Martin Lawrence before they're like big names, and they still have this charismatic energy and this charisma that they have with each other that is really fun. And throwing there a little bit in the mix is the plotline about this one woman, and Martin Lawrence has to pretend to be Will Smith's character, and it just creates a fun dynamic that is genuinely funny and makes way for some very funny sequences in the movie. And the plot, that plot about them protecting the lady, is what stands out. Now the plot about the actual villain, I don't even remember who the villain was, or he probably wanted something to do with drugs, probably. I don't really remember. There's not much memorable there. But when we're just with Will Smith and Martin Lawrence, it's fun, it's charismatic, and makes its way for some very fun sequences. Now, this is Michael Bay's directorial debut, so there's not many big baller sequences, like especially in 2 or in 3, where the sequences that stick in your head. There's not very many action set pieces that really are memorable. I don't think there's any actually at all. There's quite a bit of slow-mo, not enough of the Michael Bay flair that I was really hoping coming into this movie, and so there's kind of that, and the plot overall is kind of forgettable, but going into this one, it was just fun to hang out with our bad boys, and then with the plot with the woman, that was one of the funnest, that was one of the more fun parts of this franchise, that I really did enjoy that. But it's only number 3 on this list. I still really enjoyed it. I do enjoy all these movies. These next 2 are on a completely different level. We're going to say number 2 with Bad Boys for Life. Bad Boys 3. And this movie was really interesting because it was able to bring back these characters all these years later and not feel like it's missing a step. I didn't grow up watching the Bad Boys movies, so all these years later, where I'm just now watching for the first time, back to back to back, I didn't ever feel like, oh, oof, that didn't stay with continuity, or that feels like they skipped a beat. It feels like we were blending right back into this franchise without skipping a beat, and it's very fun. And by far, this movie has the most memorable plot that I think really works in this movie with this whole assassin guy. It's very personal to Will Smith's character, and so that's something that I really do think works, is when we're in the plot of things, when we're stopping the bad guy. There's a twist here that completely flips the movie on its head that I think works. This is one with some of the most memorable action set pieces. There's a scene that's one of my favorite scenes in an action movie since I saw it. It's where the guy falls on top of Martin Lawrence's car. Will Smith goes in to investigate, and he's just up on the roof, and all of a sudden Martin Lawrence, you're staring at him like this, and then at the top you see Will Smith fall through a window. There's all that kind of directing style with the action sequences that I think look really, really good. And so I think that this was just a very good movie. I thought it was very fun, had an emotional undertone for Will Smith's character, but we're just able to come back into the Bad Boys universe without missing a beat all these years later with completely new directors. It fits seamlessly. I think it is really, really fun, and probably close to being one of the best action movies of the decade so far. I think it's number 5 on that list. I'm going to have a short on my shorts feed in the next couple of days. I'm going to talk about the 5 best action movies and so of the decade, and that's going to be on one of it because it's really fun. I really do like this movie, but it's not my favorite. Number 1 is Bad Boys 2. This is probably one of the most offensive action movies I have ever seen, and I loved it. I loved it from beginning to end. The moment we get into this movie, we're with our characters as they go to a KKK meeting, flip off their masks, say, "What's up, MFers?" and shoot up the KKK. That's not the craziest thing that happens in this movie. If you did something like that in today's movie world, something worth joking about that, have people lining the streets with signs. Anybody who worked on this movie would never work again in Hollywood. There'd be riots in the Hollywood industry if this movie was made today, just regarding that first scene. And that's not the craziest thing that happens. We get scenes with dead people rolling out onto the streets. We get a scene where, this is very hard to say, but Will Smith and Martin Lawrence lust over a dead woman's boobs. That, like, it goes full Michael Bay perversion, crazy women stuff that he does, but with 2 charismatic leads who are just insanely fun to be around. There's just scenes in this movie where we're just hanging out with the characters. We're just with them while they do nothing. Specifically, like the Reggie scene. Reggie had a comeback in Bad Boys for Life, and Ride or Die. But like, there's just a random scene where he comes to pick up the daughter, and they just both have great chemistry. They bounce off of one another perfectly. It's funny. Michael Bay, he comes back after the first Bad Boys movie with his distinct style, is insanely fun, and a movie that I really wish I could watch just again and again and again. This is for sure going to be one of my comfort movies, and plot's not memorable. If we're going by the plot, Bad Boys for Life wins. It's the best one. But this is just one with crazy sequences that always just stay in your head, and it's just messed up and absolutely fun, and that's why it's number one. What is your ranking of the Bad Boys films? I want to know all that and more down below in the comment section. While you're down there, please make sure to subscribe and hit the like button and hit the bell so you never miss another video. So thank you guys for clicking on this video, and with that said, subscribe, join the Nerd Army. Peace out.